Hello, beautiful soul, and thank you for being here to celebrate the goddess in her form as Siddhidatri with me. If you are joining me during Navratri, a very blessed and beautiful 9th day, or Navami, the final day of Navratri to you. If you are joining me some other time of the year, don't worry and stick around because this video is absolutely timeless, and whenever you are viewing it, it is right for you to connect with the goddess and her story. However, if you would like to catch up with the other days of Navratri and the other aspects of Devi, remember that you can do so by clicking the link in the video description to visit my Durga Navratri playlist. So let's get started in introducing you to or connecting you further with Siddhidatri. Siddhidatri is also alternatively known by the names Mahadevi and Mahashakti. Remember that Maha is the root word of Sanskrit, which means mighty or super. So whenever you see that as a prefix to someone's name, it is a way of honoring their sacred power. And Siddhidatri is perhaps the most powerful of the forms of the Navadurga. Remember that during Navratri we have been introduced to her, we have worked our way up the chakra system, and now connected with this supreme aspect, which is why you can see her here seated on her throne. This is actually a piece of energy art that I created for my Durga Devi energy art / enlightened merch collection. If you are interested in that, you will find the links to it as well as to a Kushmanda collection in the video description as well via my website 𝇳𝓹�㓴.com. And it's funny because I created this artwork last year and I was not at that time celebrating Navratri through another tool, which is utilizing the sacred colors of that day. However, in now working with this piece this year, when I am incorporating that tradition into my practice, I can see that all 9 sacred day colors have already been included in this piece of energy artwork, which was a surprise to me because this is channeled material. So I don't really intentionally place items in the artwork. I follow the goddess and her lead, which is why watching and listening to this video, it is filled with visual and vocal light codes in effort to help you connect with the goddess further. So I hope that you feel that as well. Please feel free to do some stream of consciousness journaling if you would like to connect with the goddess more and allow yourself to receive further messages from her. But as I said, this does incorporate all 9 colors of the day of Navratri, and so let's start with talking about the sacred color for today. As I said, today is known as Navami, the 9th day, and the sacred color of today is violet or purple. And that can illustrate her royalty, her power as supreme being. You can also work with the violet flame energy. Violet or purple is known as one of the highest ray colors because of the way that it comes at that higher tier of the rainbow light spectrum and of the chakra system. So working with purple today, or any time that you are called to work with Siddhidatri, can help you to connect and to tap into that sovereignty or royalty. Now, before we get started with talking about the goddess's story and how she came into being and some of her main points of interest, I want to flip the visual here for a moment and allow you to see goddess in another form, more akin to the other videos that we have been working with her in through statuary, because I want to call your attention to more of her appearance in terms of some of the weaponry that she can carry, some of the alternative ways that she can present herself. So she can present as she does here on a throne, as I have illustrated her in my energy artwork, or she can appear like this. So this is the statuary element of energy artwork that we were using for the other days of Navratri, but this is her illustration as Siddhidatri. She is seated on a throne here as well. Sometimes alternatively she is seated on the lotus or Kamala flower, but she is most often depicted with 4 arms which hold a beautiful renewal lotus or kamala flower, a mace, a chakra or discus weapon, which you can learn more about in previous Navadurga videos, and a shankha. This form of the goddess uses these weapons to remove ignorance and provide a level of knowledge or a pathway to knowledge where one can realize a state of Brahman. The shankha, by the way, is the conch shell, which is most often depicted with the aspects of the Trimurti connected with Lord Vishnu, and that chakra disc, of course, is connected with Lord Vishnu in weaponry as well. But in saying that, let's flip back to my energy artwork here as we get to know her story better, because to illustrate her story, it is going to include speaking about Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu, in addition, of course, to her beloved of Shiva. So to tell her full story, we also have to go back to day 4 of Navratri when we were connecting with the goddess Kushmanda. Now, as I said, I have a Kushmanda energy art collection as well, and you can take part in the activation for that in Kushmanda's in-depth video, which is located in the Navadurga playlist, where we talk about how, as the cosmic egg, Kushmanda brought the world and the universe into being. But we're going to pick up where some of that story left off, because as the goddess Kushmanda, she created, of course, the Hindu Trimurti that we have in terms of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Now, after she did so, she asked Lord Brahma to create the worlds and fill them up. She asked Lord Vishnu to be the preserver of all the inhabitants of the worlds, and she asked Lord Shiva to be the destructor of ignorance. Some say the destructor of evil as well, although Lord Shiva is just as comfortable with demons as he is with Devis. He takes everything with a grain of salt and always with the perspective for highest good. And he also has the role of being a destructor of the worlds when it is time to do so. However, in my experience, Lord Shiva most relishes his time with his beloved and his time in meditation, and in aspect being that observer and knowing when it is time to destruct and when it is time to allow for other forms of being or growth is a superpower, is one of the reasons we love Lord Shiva so much. However, Lord Shiva asked that he be gifted with 18 perfections. Now, in order to do this, the goddess Kushmanda created another goddess from herself. This is where she created the goddess Siddhidatri. And as Siddhidatri, she was able to grant or bestow Lord Shiva with the 18 perfections, or the 18 Siddhis that he came to be known for. Now, most people resonate these Siddhis, or perfections, boons, knowledges, supernatural powers, blessings. It's a little bit interchangeable with their definition there, but most people resonate with the main 8 Siddhis. Now, that would be the Ashta Siddhi. I am going to briefly go over those 8 Siddhis with you, because I believe that not only could it help you to connect with Lord Shiva, but as the bestower of these Siddhis, of course, they were perfections and powers that Siddhidatri had as well. She had to have them in order to create them and share them with Lord Shiva and the Trimurti. So before we go over those, I do just want to say that some alternative tellings of this story say that Siddhidatri gave these 18 perfections to all 3 members of the Trimurti, which would of course include Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu. However, in this telling, we are focusing on her granting them to Lord Shiva, because of course we are celebrating during Navratri, or Navadurga's holiday, and she is the beloved of Shiva. So it has resonance in that, and resonance in the other part of the story that we are going to be getting to in just a moment. But as I said, let's go over these powers of the Siddhi. So we're going to go over the main 8 Ashta Siddhi. The first one would be anima, or shrinking. This is the power to become the size of an atom and enter even into the smallest of beings. The second one is mahama, which is illimitability. This is all-encompassing power of becoming mighty and coextensive or co-creative with the universe. And this also has resonance in increasing one's size without any limits. The third is 𝑇�𓋹�㓴, or lightness. This is the capacity to be light at any size, even when big in size. The fourth is 𝑓𝑔𝑟𝑖𝑚𝑎, or weight, which is a capacity to weigh a lot, even being quite small in size, which can hold resonance in physics as well, right? We know that an atom itself can be quite heavy, even if it is small in size. So this is where we have connections with Hinduism and science as well, which is one of my passions. I love connecting spirituality and science. So now we have the fifth Siddhi, or the prapti, which is the fulfillment of desires. This is the capacity to enter all the worlds from the Brahmaloka to the netherworlds. It's the power of achieving absolutely anything that is desired, which I know will call to my fellow manifestors out there. The sixth is the prakasima. By the way, apologies to my native Hindi-speaking friends. I am not native speaking, so I am doing my best with pronunciations. But anyway, the sixth siddhi is the prakambya, which is the ability to achieve whatever one desires, to have irresistible will, the power also of disembodying and entering into other bodies, going into heaven, and enjoying what everyone aspires for, wherever he or she is or stays. Now, the seventh Ashta Siddhi is the Ishtavam, the supremacy. This is the ability to have the creative power of God and control over the sun, the moon, the planets, and the elements. And finally, we have the eighth Ashta Siddhi, which is the 𝑉𝑎𝑠𝑦𝑇𝑉𝑎𝑚, or dominion over these elements. This is the power of control, even over kings and gods, and the power of changing the course of nature while being able to assume any form. And so with these main 8 Ashta Siddhis and then the additional 10, Lord Shiva was able to attain the powers of perfection or divinity. In addition to that, goddess Siddhidatri is said to have granted all 3 Trimurti members with 9 treasures and 10 other kinds of supernatural powers or potentialities. And then they were able to use such powers to implement their gifts over the world. So as I said, Lord Brahma would be the creator, and in order to be the creator of not only the earth but its peoples, he had to ask the goddess for another favor, because of course Lord Vishnu really had nothing to preserve if Lord Brahma did not also create inhabitants and peoples. But when it came to his task to do this, Lord Brahma told the goddess Siddhidatri that he was having a difficult time because he could not create man and woman in order to fill and populate the earth and the worlds. And so in response to this, goddess Siddhidatri called forth Lord Shiva and transformed half of his body into a woman's body. And this is where we have the aspect of Shiva Shakti known as Ardhanarishwar. Now, Ardha means half, Nari means woman, and Ishwar is a symbolization of Shiva. So we spoke about this on some of the other days of Navratri, and most often when we are coming from this physical plane, we are working our way up that chakra system to, in my opinion, become one with that aspect of divine masculine, divine feminine balance and way of being. But here we can see the story and the illustration from the top down in terms of going from Ardhanarishwar to what then became people. And it's interesting because even in Greek mythology, we have this telling of beings that were masculine and feminine. And it is said in Greek mythology and culture that people originally had their divine masculine or divine feminine half attached to them, and that we had 4 arms and 4 legs, and eventually the gods split us up, which is why Greek tellings of this say that's why we search for our soulmate or our twin flame. But of course, here in Hinduism, we have this other example and illustration. And I really love this because 𝑓𝑡𝑗𝑛𝑒𝑠𝑒𝑠 is sacred in the divine masculine and feminine balance, which is something that I am so very passionate about, as you may know if you work with me or listen to my other works. But once this form was created, Lord Brahma was able to then create and fully populate the worlds, eventually creating the 14 worlds and filling them with people of both masculine and feminine, or intersex if you like, natures, thus giving Lord Vishnu beings to preserve and Lord Shiva beings to interact with and destroy the ignorance of. And so we have this creation aspect, which tells the story and adds to the creation story and helps us to connect with Siddhidatri. It is alternatively known that the feminine part of Lord Shiva can be known as Siddhidatri in terms of her merge with him. And as you know, this aspect of the creation story, this aspect of the goddess, you can pursue any sort of worship of her that you like. It is said that worshiping Siddhidatri can grant you the power over attaining knowledge, wisdom, and Siddhis, and she provides the realization not only that she exists, but that you exist as a version of that divine, perfect being and can achieve as you like with that power. Worship and devotion to her is said to fulfill all divine inspirations, and she is a very powerful, as I said, being to work with and mother goddess to work with as you are called. Remember too that I am someone who works with many aspects of the divine, with many pantheons, so I would never strive to promote any one over the other. I hope that whatever aspects that you believe in, that call to you, that validate your experience, are ones that you can trust, and I pray are ones that bring you as much fulfillment and love as Devi has brought to me. One of the main reasons that I made this series is to fulfill a promise in gratitude to her. You know, I realized that she has been there for me through all of the aspects of my life, even before I learned to recognize her under these names or under these forms. She's been soft but strong in the background, as we hope all mothers should be, and I truly appreciate especially how she stepped forward for me when I was unraveling and healing my deepest traumas. And that's something I wanted to share because she absolutely can help us be powerful and help us be fearless. But there are times when we need to do things in fear anyway, where we find that we need to unravel ourselves and heal our nervous systems from the fear that we have been patterned to perpetuate. And that can be an intense process. It can be a depressing or fearful process. And I personally don't think I would have made it through that or made it to where I am today through CPTSD and all other kinds of trauma if she had not stepped forward along with other of her aspects, including the goddess Sekhmet, who I believe to be her in another form, to help me, you know, through that fire, through that fear, and help me achieve and receive the knowledge that not only allowed me to unravel and heal from those intense traumas, but to gain the knowledge and gain the perspective and gain the abilities that would allow me to stand as trauma-informed and a better healer for others as well. So I am intensely grateful to her for that and so much more. And I pray that she, or whatever other form of the divine you feel called to, can speak to you and stand with you as powerfully. And with that, I am going to close this series and direct you, if I may, to make sure to leave a like if this has resonated, to let Davy and I know that you liked it, and to spread this through the algorithms further. It's one of my deepest wishes that this information will live on throughout the years of Navratri, throughout the years of people being called to the goddess any time of year, and to help more people connect and understand her various aspects. So thank you for helping me do that. Please also share it if you feel called to friends, fans, and socials who may find it helpful. If you would like to work with me spiritually, remember you can do so anytime through my website, Damsel Designs, DAMCL Designs.com, where not only will you find this energy artwork, enlightened merch items, and more, but you will also find quantum and Akashic record sessions with me and other types of spiritual offerings. If you feel called to work with me on a healing basis through quantum and 𝑓 energy healing, life and consciousness coaching, or magical or manifestation mentorship, remember that there is also a contact for consult form in this video description as well as on my website, so that you could reach out to me and apply for one of my customized quantum energy healing containers. I like for us to speak before I design those especially for you, to make sure that we are a good fit and set your soul up to fulfill its needs. And I would love to work with more of you in that capacity. If you would like to support my channel and keeping free and public works like this out there, I also accept and appreciate all amounts appreciated energy exchange and donations through paypal.me/𝑇�𓋹𓓓𓶴 or the donate links that are listed in the description. That's not necessary, but it is immensely helpful to keep my channels going, and thank you so much to those of you who choose to do that. Whether you choose to do that or work with me another time or not, I do hope you will also subscribe and stick around for spirituality and quantum physics and self-development works of all kinds. I would love for you to become a subscriber. You can also find me on other platforms such as Instagram and things that are linked in the video description, and I do hope to see you another time. With that, I will close this energy out, and I pray that you are blessed. With love, light, and light codes, love Danielle, #damsel at 𝑇zy𝑔𝓹𝓴𝑓 of damseldesigns.com.